Breaking right now, massive flames tearing through wine country in Napa, closing in on homes and vineyards.
Flames you see here could easily be 50 feet tall.
Mandatory evacuations overnight, cars trying to escape the blaze. And as more than a dozen wildfires burn out west, in the east, millions in the path of the remnants of Hurricane Nate.
Also this morning, bitter battle. President Trump in a new war of words with a top Republican senator. Bob Corker taking aim at the president, accusing him of treating the office like a reality show, saying his recklessness could put us on a path to World War III. As the White House reignites the debate over the national anthem, Vice President Pence sparking a firestorm. Was it a political stunt?
Real-life thriller. Angelina Jolie reportedly caught in the center of a daring plot, now revealed. Was the Oscar winner going to help take down a warlord?
And one-on-one this morning with President Trump's first wife, Ivana Trump.
I have the direct number to the White House.
What she's saying about their children, about Donald Trump as a father.
You're right. I believe the credit for raising such great kids belongs to me.
What their relationship is like now, and what Ivana Trump says about the president's tweeting.
From ABC News, live in Times Square, this is Good Morning America.
And we do say good morning, America. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Amy's interview with Ivana Trump is ahead. Great to begin the week with David Muir.
Always great to be with you, Robin. Always interesting when you go back and interview the first wife. Got some interesting answers with Amy this morning. We'll get to that in just a moment, but a lot of news to get to on this Monday morning. Those wildfires are tearing through the west. Take a look at the scene overnight as people try to flee Napa Valley. You can see embers there flying beside the road.
Yeah, most of the state of California facing red flag warnings and wind advisories this morning. Hundreds of acres already burned. ABC's Nick Watt has the latest.
Evacuations as raging wildfires rip through Napa and Sonoma counties this morning, at least 200 acres ablaze.
I don't have the exact time that this started or certainly we don't know what the cause is. Right now we're just focused on trying to get people out of the area.
High winds and dry conditions causing the flames to spread rapidly, hopping freeways here in the heart of wine country.
My wife and I live in downtown Napa, and it's actually raining ash in our backyard as we speak right now. Some of the flames you see here could easily be 50 feet tall as they're cresting the hillside. It's pretty frightening.
Ashes flying as wind gusts up to 50 miles per hour.
There's a plethora of premium wineries all over the place, and a lot of these people haven't picked their grapes yet.
And threatening the Silverado Resort, which hosted a PGA tournament at the weekend, with many fans staying Sunday night.
This is clear.
Firefighters and police officers racing to the scene.
There's other fires that are burning here in Napa County also, so we're trying to deploy our resources as best as possible.
Right now, there are between 4 and 5 fires burning, nearly 20,000 people without power. Several homes have been destroyed around Napa, and many residents who haven't already evacuated are being told to pack a bag just in case. Robin?
All right, Nick, thank you. And in the Northeast, the remnants of Hurricane Nate are moving in. Ginger tracking that system for us. Good morning, Ginger.
Hey, good morning to you, Robin. This is what it looked like in Mississippi when Hurricane Nate made landfall late Saturday into early Sunday morning. More than 6 feet of storm surge was reported. Now we see Nate moving to the north and east. We've already seen 12 reported tornadoes from North and South Carolina over the weekend, and now it's all just rain and heavy at times in parts of New York and Pennsylvania. Much of the Northeast going to see this, and you could end up seeing pockets in the next 24 hours of 2 to 3 inches of rain, but it has lost a lot of steam and it is going to move very quickly. Another thing we've got to talk about coming up, not only those red flag warnings in California, but snow in Denver this morning, David.
Snow in Denver.
A little bit of,
She had to say it, didn't she? All right, we're going to turn to political news now this morning. The political note, now the latest from the president and the White House. Overnight, the Trump administration revealing their list of demands they say need to be met to strike a deal on protecting the so-called dreamers, young undocumented immigrants brought here as children. Democratic leaders quickly responding this morning, saying the president can't be serious. And a lot of reaction coming into Vice President Pence's decision to walk out of an NFL game Sunday after players took a knee during the national anthem. The vice president saying he did not want to, quote, dignify such an event.
And the feud between President Trump and a powerful GOP Senator Bob Corker is intensifying this morning. Senator Corker telling the New York Times that Trump's reckless threats could be putting the U.S., quote, on the path to World War III. Our senior White House correspondent, Cecilia Vega, is in Washington with the latest on all of this. Good morning, Cecilia.
Robin, good morning to you. This is a stunning war of words. A senior Republican senator going after the president, bashing him publicly in ways even few Democrats do.
It is an extraordinary public rebuke of a sitting president by a member of his own party. In an interview with the New York Times, Tennessee's Bob Corker blasting President Trump, saying he treats the office like a reality TV show and is so reckless, the nation could be on the path to World War III. Corker said in several instances he's hurt us as it relates to negotiations that were underway by tweeting things out. And the hits did not end there. Corker said it takes a tremendous amount of work by people around the president to keep him in the middle of the road. And that, quote, I know for a fact that every single day at the White House, it's a situation of trying to contain him. It capped a day of stunning infighting aired for all the world to see. After Corker made this jab last week,
Secretary Tillerson, Secretary Mattis, and Chief of Staff Kelly are those people that help separate our country from chaos.
On Sunday morning, the president punched back on Twitter, saying Corker begged me to endorse him for re-election. I said no, and he dropped out, said he could not win without my endorsement, adding he didn't have the guts to run. Corker disputed those claims and fired back, tweeting, it's a shame the White House has become an adult daycare center. Someone obviously missed their shift this morning. And Corker says he's not alone, telling the New York Times nearly every Republican in the Senate shares his concerns about the president.
And Cecilia, on that note, Corker had another quote that's really raising a lot of eyebrows from that article. He said, I don't know why the president tweets out things that are not true. You know he does it. Everyone knows he does it, but he does. Again, this is a member of his own party.
Yeah, I mean, he's essentially calling the president a liar there. And Corker is a vital vote for President Trump. He sits on the Senate Budget Committee. He chairs the Foreign Relations Committee. President Trump is going to need him on things, Robin and David, like Iran and tax reform. But this is just a stunning, stunning turn of events.
It is. And in the meantime, Cecilia, as we watch this back and forth with Bob Corker play out, a fellow Republican, we're following another major political headline this morning involving immigration and the Dreamers, the 800,000 undocumented immigrants. They were children brought here by their parents. We remember that dinner, Cecilia. You reported on it. The president, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, the Democratic leaders came out saying major progress on the Dreamers without tying it to the wall. That doesn't appear to be the case anymore.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like President Trump is attaching conditions to this deal to allow DACA recipients to stay in this country. He wants funding for a border wall. He wants a tougher legal immigration system in this country. The response, you said it, David, from Chuck and Nancy, as he calls them, this administration can't be serious.
All right. Cecilia Vega with a lot going on at the White House this morning. Thank you. We're going to turn out to the battle between the White House and the NFL. Vice President Pence walking out of that Colts game in Indianapolis Sunday when players from the San Francisco 49ers knelt during the national anthem. Let's get right to Mary Bruce on the Hill. She's got reaction for us pouring in this morning. Good morning, Mary.
Good morning, David. Well, the White House seems to relish this fight and appears to want to keep it going. Again, they are reigniting this debate over the national anthem. The vice president yesterday taking that stand to oppose players who take a knee. And the president says it was all his idea. As players from the San Francisco 49ers took a knee during the national anthem Sunday, Vice President Mike Pence staged a protest of his own. The vice president, who flew from Las Vegas to Indianapolis for Sunday's game, standing with his hand on his heart. But soon after, he and his wife abruptly left the stadium. Then he tweeted this: I will not dignify any event that disrespects our soldiers, our flag, or our national anthem. But it wasn't an impromptu protest. An aide says Pence planned to leave all along if players took a knee. And President Trump is taking credit for the walkout. Tweeting, I asked VP Pence to leave stadium if any players kneeled. I am proud of him. Many 49ers are known for doing exactly that. Their former quarterback Colin Kaepernick started the protests last season. 49ers player Eric Reed calls Pence's actions a PR stunt.
He knew our team has had the most players protests. He knew that we were probably going to do it again.
And this morning, some are asking, was it worth it? One Democratic congressman saying after all the scandals involving unnecessarily expensive travel by cabinet secretaries, how much taxpayer money was wasted on this stunt. Now, we've asked the White House about those criticisms and questions about the expense of the vice president's appearance, but David, so far, no response.
All right, Mary, stick with us here because I want to bring in Van Jones, too, author, CNN political commentator. He's with us. You've written a new book saying that progressives and conservatives really need to come to the table to try to understand one another. So I want to ask you, in light of the new book, what we saw yesterday, the vice president leaving the game early, the pool reporter who travels with the vice president didn't even go into the stadium, was told the vice president might be leaving a little early, leading so many to say this is a political stunt. What's going on here? Has either side demonstrated they want to come to the table to understand the other side?
It's crazy on top of crazy, inside of crazy, deep fried in some crazy. That's what's going on. I mean, at the end of the day, you've got now the president, the vice president pulling off a stunt to oppose a stunt, protesting a protest. At some point, you got to be done with the crazy. I am on a crusade now against crazy. That's what the book is about. I've gone all over the country. I've been to red states, blue states, Appalachia, Flint, Michigan. Everybody has the same problems. Everybody has the same pain. Common pain should lead to common purpose, but instead what you see is food fights in Washington, D.C. and nothing getting done. So I'm trying to bring people back together now.
But in this case, you're seeing protests against protests instead of actually asking what's behind both sides.
You know what's so crazy? This started out as about police-community relations. That's what it's supposed to be about. Now we're talking about free speech for athletes. We're talking about who's insulting soldiers. Nobody has insulted any soldiers. So you could be dealing with the substantive issues. Instead, we're dealing with symbolic protests. And I think Americans are sick of it.
And you have the president tweeting moments ago his support of the vice president on this yet again. I want to get to the war words with Senator Bob Corker. We saw this play out. This isn't Democrat versus Republican. This is a Republican senator who has said, as you heard Cecilia report there, treating the White House like a reality show with reckless threats that could put us on a path to World War III. I mean, these are words that we haven't even heard from Democrats on the Hill.
Well, but that's what happens, though. When you start this division, it doesn't stop inside, between the parties. It goes into the parties. We're headed. Listen, if we don't change directions, we're going to end up where we're headed. And where we're headed is a very bad place. The reason I wrote this book is because I know for a fact there are issues that can bring us together. This issue, we're going to be divided on. Why do they double down on it? Instead, what we should be doing is looking at the stuff we could come together on. This addiction crisis is killing people across the country. In my book, I talk about how that could bring us together. The criminal justice system, jobs. Most Americans don't want to be in a food fight every day. We can't even talk to our cousins anymore because of this division. We can come together, though. And this has been some time that we've all felt this way. Yeah.
Since long before the election.
I'm sick of the crazy, and I'm on a crusade against crazy. We need a movement against madness in the country. This book is a cure for the crazy.
All right. Sick of the crazy is the quote of the morning, and the book is called Beyond the Messy Truth. Van Jones, good to have you with us here this morning. Always.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks to you and to Mary and Cecilia.
We have more in common than not, so why don't we focus on those things we do have in common.
How about that?
Right. Thank you, Van. Turning now to new details about the Las Vegas shooting overnight, the Strip going dark, marking 1 week since the tragedy. And this morning, we're learning more about the shooter's deadly plans and past. A woman who says she worked with the gunman and considered him a friend is now sharing her story. Our senior national correspondent, Matt Gutman, has more.
This morning, these new images of a smiling Stephen Paddock obtained exclusively by ABC News. Grinning there under his arm is Lisa Crawford, who says she was a property manager in a building he owned in Mesquite, Texas, for 6 years.
He cared about everybody's finances. He cared about everybody's cars. He actually cared about people.
Including her. Those pictures show them palling around together with iconic Las Vegas hotels in the background.
We emailed, text. Neither one of us liked talking on the phone.
Crawford, who says she's spoken to police and the FBI about her friendship with Paddock, said he had a goofball sense of humor and was even generous to his tenants.
The person that I knew back then, they would have enjoyed living on one of his properties.
But Paddock remains such an enigma that the FBI executed another search warrant on his home near Las Vegas on Sunday. You can see where they breached the garage in that nondescript house in the cul-de-sac. Overnight, one of the first police officers in that sniper's nest telling 60 Minutes that the shooter had a handwritten note with him.
The elevation he was on, the drop of what his bullet was going to be for the crowd. So he had that written down and figured out, so he would know where to shoot to hit his targets from there.
Officials reporting it contained numerical figures for wind, trajectory, and distance, apparently meant to maximize his ability to kill the concert goers down below. Jason Aldean, who was on stage when the shooting began, making his first public appearance Saturday, going on SNL, where he sang the Tom Petty classic, Won't Back Down. Now, Jason Aldean back in Las Vegas, living up to those lyrics. You see him there with his wife right in front of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. He also visited victims at the UMC Medical Center. Now, a sliver of good news this morning: of the 500 people wounded in that attack, only 8 remain hospitalized this morning. Rob and David.
That's good news. And Jason Aldean, that was a powerful performance
on SNL. It really was.
We're going to move on now to that new fallout this morning for Harvey Weinstein. Overnight, the movie mogul fired from his job at the film studio he once founded over those explosive sexual harassment allegations. ABC's Lindsay Davis has late developments for us. Hey, Lindsay.
Just 4 days after the bombshell report accusing him of sexually harassing women, this morning Harvey Weinstein is out of a job. While the Weinstein Company initially said the embattled mogul would be taking an indefinite leave of absence from the company, late Sunday the remaining board members, including Weinstein's brother Bob, announced his termination, saying it was due to new information about misconduct that has emerged in the past few days. The ouster comes amid a week of growing fallout from that New York Times report, which describes several accusations of sexual harassment against Weinstein from both employees and actresses, including Ashley Judd and Rose McGowan. On Friday, 3 members of the Weinstein Company's all-male 9-member board of directors resigned, followed on Saturday by attorney Lisa Bloom, who tweeted that she'd be stepping down as Weinstein's advisor. This just 1 day after she appeared on Good Morning America, telling George her client's behavior crossed a legal line.
This is like textbook sexual harassment.
It's gross. Yeah.
It's illegal.
Yes.
This as another accuser came forward, a local news reporter who claims Weinstein accosted her in a closed restaurant hallway 10 years ago, performing an obscene act while blocking her exit. This weekend, she tweeted, "For those asking why I waited, you try telling that story 10 years ago. Only possible now because of women with bigger names, far braver than me." Even President Trump, pictured here with Weinstein at a 2009 film premiere, weighing in.
I've known Harvey Weinstein for a long time. I'm not at all surprised to see it.
But when a reporter attempted to compare Weinstein's behavior with President Trump's, the president made this distinction.
Well, he says they were inappropriate. That's locker room. That's locker room.
And over the weekend, McGowan, who is reportedly among those who received a settlement with Weinstein, tweeted a picture of herself in her 20s with the caption, "This is the girl who was hurt by a monster. This is the girl who you are shaming with your silence." She wants more women to come forward.
All right. Lindsay, thanks.
Appreciate that. Let's go back down to Ginger. Ginger?
Snowing this morning from Fort Collins to Denver, the earliest snow in Denver since 2012. So in 5 years, they'll end up with 4 to 8 inches overall. Select Cities now brought to you by Oral-B.
I was wondering if an electric toothbrush really cleans better than a manual, and my hygienist says it does, but they're not all the same. Turns out they're really different. Who knew? I had no idea. So she said look for one that's shaped like a dental tool with a round brush head.
Go pro with Oral-B. Oral-B's rounded brush head surrounds each tooth to gently remove more plaque. And Oral-B cross-action is clinically proven to remove more plaque than Sonicare Diamond Clean.
My mouth feels so clean. I'll only use an Oral-B.
The #1 brand used by dentists worldwide. Oral-B. Brush like a pro.
Hold tight to your umbrella today. We've got rain in the forecast and wind. Today's winds could gust to around 25 to 30 miles per hour by lunchtime today. Now, most of our rain will be over with by around 9-10 a.m. this morning as those temperatures move from the upper 70s to the lower 80s today. Rain chances curtail by the afternoon hours, but still going to be plenty humid. In fact, humidity all week long, with rain continuing in the forecast Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week.
Coming up one-on-one with Ivana Trump, Amy sits down with the president's first wife, what she says about his life in the White House, his role raising their children, and her advice about tweeting.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I go with a Noro.
COPD